Mukesh, Gauravji, you want us to keep our videos on, or that also can
Yeah,
be
yeah,
off?
videos can be on. Yes, yes.
Okay.
So good evening, friends. I appreciate your valuable time and hope and pray that you and your loved ones are safe and healthy. Before proceeding with this session, I would like to thank on behalf of myself and the panel, our COVID warriors, for their extraordinary efforts during these uncertain times. At India Healthcare Leadership Forum, we foster collaborative exchange among top healthcare leaders in India. And now we have become sector agnostic. So for last many sessions, we have brought in leaders from various sectors. This is an incredible opportunity to network, share, and learn. In the backdrop of the ongoing COVID-19 crisis, we are actively organizing knowledge sessions. Earlier, we had stopped it, but now again we have started because we had a lot of demand from coming in from the participants. And some of the finest minds from across the globe are answering your questions, your queries. So this is a golden opportunity for each one of us to learn from the wisdom of the senior leaders. And we also thank you for your overwhelming support for this important initiative. There are a few housekeeping announcements that I would like to make. And more than 500 people we are expecting today. So there will be people on this Zoom platform, which will be less because there is a bandwidth issue. Rest people we are will be there on the YouTube, Facebook, and other live platforms, and from different parts of the globe. So we have people from Middle East, we have people from South Asia, and even we have people from Canada. So we are very thankful because their time zones are extremely different. So thanks a lot for that. And one thing which we have to remember, that if you are on the Zoom platform and you are asking any question, please choose the panelist and all participant option, so that every participant can also see your question, and our panelist will answer your question during the course of discussion itself. And people who are watching on the other platforms, you can please send your questions to our team members, and they will ask that question on your behalf. And generally what happens is, because there are so many participants, that we will miss many questions. So we will send the questions to our panelists and we will request them to answer those questions. And we also take this opportunity to thank Recruit Advisors. This is a leading global executive search firm, and they have been awarded as best executive search firm by Economic Times last year. And we strongly recommend that if you are looking to build a winning team in your organization, please reach out to Recruit Advisors. And we are also, we would like to thank all our partners who are there, different organizations with whom we have a symbiotic relationship and whose participants have come through them. So thanks a lot for that. And we hope that our partnership will continue in the future. So whether it is Society of Human Resource Management, Tata Social Alpha, Nat Health, and many others. So thanks a lot for the partnership, and we will continue it for a long time. So the COVID-19 pandemic, I think, has drastically changed the whole world and has a far-reaching impact on both lives and livelihood. And this second wave was very different from the first wave, because I think this one has impacted each one of us personally. Not that first wave we were not impacted, but I think second wave, each one of us has experienced some loss, either in the immediate family or somebody known to us. And also from the organizational perspective, we have seen some impact coming in. And as a society as a whole, we have seen a major impact. So COVID-19 second wave was, I think, far more disastrous than the first wave. And there are various apprehensions that there might be future waves. So we all have to be ready, and it has become increasingly important for the leaders to chart a growth journey for their organization and guide their teams through these VUCA times. Because these things, I think, will keep on coming. and in my opinion, improving organizational resilience to prepare for future disruptions. It begins with an honest appraisal of whether the organization is prepared. We all thought that in first wave we were all prepared, but second wave clearly showed that there were a lot of gaps, and we all should be very honest and transparent to accept that. We have to be adaptable. There are many MSME segment and many other companies and even the large organization which could not be agile and could not adapt, and they faced serious consequences. Then we have to be collaborative. We have seen in healthcare industry where various companies have collaborated to come out with solution to fight for COVID-19. We have seen in the hospital segment, a lot of hospitals collaborating. So we have seen a lot of collaboration in various sectors. And then we have to be trustworthy for our employees. This was again an issue which came up when we did survey and with SHRM, and we found out that a lot of employees had a concern that on one hand, we ensured that we had to move a lot of employees out in the first wave. But then immediately after a few months, we were hiring at a very fast pace. So this shows a complete dichotomy in terms of the lack of strategy that is quite evident. And employees had other issues also where they were not paid their bonuses because of this wave, because of the various cost optimization measures. So there were various, I think, disgruntlement which employees have, and that trust has to be rebuilt between the employees and the employer. Then we had responsibility. A lot of organizations, senior leaders have taken personal responsibility, and I can clearly say, knowing each one of you, that all of you had taken personal responsibility. And there are many other leaders who have taken personal responsibility to ensure safety of the employees, to ensure that their companies become resilient for these kind of disruptions which are coming. So I think it is now a way of life. These pandemics will come and go. And today we have a fantastic lineup of speakers who are senior industry leaders and have built strong, resilient organizations. They will share their learnings and best practices, which we can successfully implement at our workplace. So we are pleased to introduce our first esteemed panelist, Mr. Umesh Hota. Umesh is the President HR at Ultratech Cement. It is the flagship company of Aditya Birla Group. Ultratech is the third largest cement producer in the world, excluding China. So I think this is very important that it's a large Indian multinational. He's a senior HR journalist with 30 years of experience and expertise in merger and acquisition management, employee relation, talent acquisition, creating and reconstructing business in multi-local and multicultural environment. As we all know that Ultratech Cement is a diversified big group, large group in various countries. So I think his learning and his wisdom will be very important for all of us today. And he will also represent the manufacturing sector, which was severely hit both in the first wave and the second wave. So Umesh, my question to you is, what challenges did lockdown pose to your supply chain system and how did you respond to it? And also reverse migration became a national issue, a very hot issue, political issue. And how did it impact your business continuity? And how were you able to survive that major challenge? And also, can you highlight some of the key changes you adopted to not only survive, but I think strive for growth in the future? Over to you, Umesh.
Gaurav, thank you very much. And you asked a couple of questions together. So let me take the liberty of answering in a manner so that all your questions get answered. Now, before I get on to that, a very good evening to you, my co-panelists, Sanjay, Nandini, Mukesh, and Rakesh, and all the participants who have taken their time off and decided to listen to us. And I consider it as an investment of their time. So thank you very much. Now, let me get into a little broader perspective. when we talk about pandemic, COVID-19, one virus, its variants, etc., created a chaos. They created a chaos in most of the countries in the world. Some countries have been able to come out of it. Some countries are still struggling. Those countries which feel that they have come out of it, it's still a question mark. So for me, pandemic or COVID-19, we should not look at the learnings, we should not look at it as a pandemic only or limit ourselves to pandemic. For me, this pandemic was an unusual situation. We have not handled that kind of a situation in the past. At least people of my generation, it's a unique situation, never before. It's an unprecedented situation and it's an unknown situation. So that's the kind of situation we got confronted with. It came to us in our generation through pandemic. It can come in various other forms also. We have seen 2009 economic downturn. It was a similar kind of a situation, may not be of that magnitude, but it was a similar kind of a situation. The geopolitics around the world is changing, and tomorrow there could be war, and there could be wars of a different nature, which the mankind has never experienced. There could be flood, as we are speaking today. Germany is such a developed country which has never experienced flood, is experiencing flood. So the uncertainty, the unusual situation, unique situation, unprecedented situation can come to us in any form. And the way we responded to pandemic, or I would say the successful behavior that we have demonstrated during the pandemic, will be also useful in any such kind of uncertain and uncommon situation. And that's what I would like to place before the panel and before the participant first. So pandemic is one such situation, and the learning should be utilized for any kind of unusual, uncommon situation that we encounter. And I foresee that such situation, the frequency, 2009 World War was long time back, 2009 economic downturn, then 2021. So the gap in future is possibly going to reduce. Now, what is important in such situation is how do you respond? You don't have any control on the situation. Who created virus, we do not know, but virus came to us. And also we know that the mankind, whatever we talk about medical development, etc., we took more than a year to get vaccine. So the situation you don't have any control, but where you have complete control is how do you respond? And that's the key. How do you respond is the key. Do you respond with a knee-jerk reaction without considering all the factors, or do you take a very considered view? And I'll now come to Ultratech and give you a little bit of business perspective and share some of the learnings. In financial year 2020, when pandemic hit at the end, sometime in end of March, we got hit by pandemic. We did a business of 42,124 crores. That was our turnover. Financial year 2021 is most part of it, or I would say the entire FY21 was under pandemic. And we did a business of 44,725 crores, which is a growth of 2,000 crores. The turnover grew by 2,600 crores. So we grew during this time. The share price, another indication which the whole world takes it as an expression of confidence. Our share price in February 2020 was 4,000 to 4,500 rupees. That's where we were parked at. In March 2020, when the pandemic came in, it slided down to 3,000 to 3,500 rupees. As we are speaking today, on 16 July, Gaurav, you'll be happy to know that our share price is 7,320. We are more than double. So what I'm trying to tell you is that pandemic, we handled it so well that the industry expressed their confidence on us, the investors expressed their confidence on us, the stakeholders expressed their confidence on us, and we grew phenomenally. In an industry, manufacturing was worst hit, you said it very rightly. In an industry which is into construction, and construction was the first thing that stopped in most of the cities, but we grew. Now let me share with you what did we do, or very specifically how did we respond. Since you have said the time is limited, I'll limit myself to a few key points. So initial days was days of confusion. Government says stopped all factories, so we stopped. So what did we tell ourselves? At that point of time, we told ourselves that we don't know, except that you do not know what you are going to confront. Be curious, try to understand, and understand. Learn from the situation, and then respond very, very conservatively. Respond conservatively, respond consciously, respond thoughtfully. These are the few things we told to ourselves. And then when we did the business closure, we closed business or the factories in a manner so that there is no incident, no safety related incident. We learned from global giants. China was infected before us. We might blame China, but there were companies when COVID infected India. There were companies in China which were running it well. One learning we picked up from those Chinese partners was that treat everybody who is coming into your factory as COVID infected. The moment you treat him, you take all precaution, your business runs. So that was one key learning. The second thing that we learned is that be prepared for the worst. And that preparedness really made us agile, made us respond in a holistic manner. We connected with dealers and distributors. We took that as an opportunity to connect with dealers and distributors. We said, we will provide you healthcare. We tried to talk to them about their emotional well-being because they are suffering. Their business is closed. We extended our helping hand and we bonded our relationship very strongly. And it took us a month or two to get benefit out of that. And it, in fact, delivered business result. We said, who are the critical people in the factory? Security, and they are the migrant labor. Secure, because you need to keep the plant secure. Second category of employees who are important is medical. We learned it very early. We trained them well. We motivated them well. We made them certified with the WHO certification program as to how to treat COVID patients. So this is one initiative that we did. Then coming to logistics, because you asked about logistics, we treated every truck that came into our factory, every truck driver and helper to be COVID infected. Are they infected? We do not know. But we assumed they are infected. And that's how we protected our employees. We did not allow any driver or helper to come down from the truck. They were inside the truck, even though they are inside the factory for 4 hours. At times it takes 4 hours for loading and unloading, but they cannot come down from the truck. They will always wear masks. If they're placing their mask down, they will be suddenly alerted. Now we gave them food inside the truck to eat. When they were leaving the factory, we gave food for 2 people. We said, don't come down on the way. You have your food. We extended that helping hand to them. We called faculties of global repute to train our employees. For example, Ram Sharan. I can't get him for a training program. It's too expensive. But when I'm organizing a program for Aditya Birla Group, I can afford him. He can sit at his home in the US and can address our employees. So we invested hugely on learning, exposed our employees to faculties of global excellence. And those learning, the benefit of those we are getting now. On reverse migration, we studied reverse migration very closely. And we said, who are these people? Mostly they are the people who work using their hands, brawn rather than brain. So they are construction workers who were point of our interest. So the construction worker, when they leave from the cities, because the construction is stopped, where are they going? They're going to small towns and their small villages. Now, what will they do when they go to their villages? They will certainly work and they will do construction. And the home builders in villages who had stopped construction, were withholding their construction for a long time, will get cheap labor and they will restart construction. Government projects shifted from towns to villages. If you recently have seen, our defense minister inaugurated a large number of roads on the border area. So Atal Tunnel got inaugurated during COVID. So the government shifted their projects from cities and towns and highways to remote areas. So we shifted our focus to remote areas. We said all our colleagues in cities and towns who are involved in sales and marketing, we said, let's learn how to sell in villages. So we trained them, retrained them, and recasted our organization structure during that time. We established our image as a caring company, to the community. We extended all kinds of helps to the people in the vicinity. So all those activities or all the responses, very well thought out responses that we carefully chose during this COVID time, gave us all the result that I spoke about in terms of the volume that we produced, in terms of our turnover, in terms of our share price. It is better than any manufacturing organization, or I would say most of the manufacturing organization, and most certainly in the cement industry. So I would conclude, Gaurav, by saying that it is the carefully chosen responses that we made, and many other manufacturing organizations which I have studied very, very carefully, they gave them success. And if you have done the reverse, you have failed. Many companies have failed during this time, and it clearly depends on the responses that you have made, how carefully you have chosen, how much study you have done of the current situation, and how empathically you have responded. So that's all. In the interest of time, I'll like to stop here and wait for the
Thanks
question.
a lot, Umesh. I think these were excellent insights. And as rightly pointed out, to summarize what Umesh was saying, the outstanding results, I have personally been tracking and seeing the results. April 2020, the share price of Ultratech and mostly of other cement companies, manufacturing companies, they were all going completely down in terms of the pricing. And the way the outstanding work that has been done by the team, I think it clearly shows the strength of the share, the strength of the results. The profit after tax is one of the best in the industry, almost 11,000 crores. So I think it clearly shows that organization can grow even during the tough times.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it clearly shows this is the success story that we all can learn from. I know it is very difficult in 8 minutes to comprehend everything and put it across, but clearly it shows that there can be success story in this uh, difficult times. People can say the share prices can be manipulated, but the results cannot be manipulated. There is huge growth in the sales. The return on capital employed has improved, and the PAT and all the numbers are extremely good. And these are multicultural, huge, large organization. So I think congratulations. And one point, if I can pick up from what Umesh has said, that the investment that they have made on learning and development. So in these tough times, I think only the organizations which think for the future make investments on their people. So it clearly shows that this is a people-oriented company. And I think that definitely, Umesh, you must be leading the initiative. So credit goes to you also. So investing in these tough times and even thinking about that when everybody is talking about cost optimization, I think it is really clearly shows that this is a future organization. So
Thank you.
congratulations. And before I proceed to my next panelist, I would request all my panelists to please keep on answering. There are a lot of questions which are pending now on the chat as well as question and answer. So please keep on answering. So with this, I now go on to my next esteemed panelist, Mr. Sanjay Bhutani. Sanjay is the country manager at Bosch & Lomb India. Sanjay has over 31 years of experience, corporate experience, and his previous stints include Brightpoint India and Schlumberger India. Very, very difficult to pronounce, Sanjay, so pardon me for that. Sanjay is an alumni of IIM Calcutta, and he's also an associate member of Institute of Cost and Work Accounts of India and Institute of Company Secretaries of India, and he has done his law from Delhi University. So Sanjay, the question that is coming to you is basically we all have seen that the single specialty clinics, particularly the eye care clinics, have been severely impacted in both the waves. There were lockdowns, there were other issues, and elective surgeries have been negatively impacted. And also the retail eye care chains and retail as a segment as a whole. has been negatively impacted because somewhere there is a lockdown, somewhere there is some other issue, supply chain issues and other issues. So what has been your learnings from the pandemic, and how do you plan to sail through and build an organization which is more resilient for the future? And also, can you highlight some of the challenges and opportunities that arose during this pandemic? Because these will be very important for some of the organizations which are dealing in the retail segment, in the segment where even if they have the product, but due to restrictions, the products cannot be used because people are not going for cataract procedures, and because of the age, and they know that they are vulnerable, so they are avoiding it, which is also again a issue because there will be a preventive blindness issue. But people are trying to avoid elective surgeries as a whole, and we have seen serious consequences, but you can't do anything because the hospitals have been dedicated to treating the COVID first. So very peculiar situation where you have a retail side of products and you have these kind of products, and you have a challenge where because of no fault of, I think, the sales team or anybody, but the products cannot be used. So how do you overcome these kind of challenges, and then what are the opportunities you see and your learnings? Over to you, Sanjay.
Thank you, Gaurav, first of all, and to your entire team, and also to the people like who are listening us, and to my co-panelists. So if I maybe want to maybe answer your question in three parts, what was the impact of the COVID, and then what as an organization we have done, where we are, and how do we kind of see the future. And for those of you like who don't know Bausch and Lomb, we are into like selling contact lens solution in the country, which is a kind of FMCG healthcare product, and also on the surgical side where we sell cataract medical devices, IOL. So two different kind of businesses brings in also maybe different challenges during the COVID time. So what I think, Gaurav, prior to COVID, no, the world was there was an empathy deficit in the world, which was kind of growing. But with COVID coming in, I think as Umesh also said, they have done like a lot more maybe than a usual time. So I think the organizations have become more empathetic during the COVID time. I'm really proud to work for Bausch and Lomb because I want to maybe use this opportunity to give some of the examples as an organization we have done to make it more resilient. Being a multinational, no, we saw this coming a bit early, right? Because it was happening in China, then it was in Europe, and speaking to our peers, like what they've been doing. So we quickly, before the lockdown, no, we created some IT systems for training, right? Because we thought like we might get into a lockdown situation in India, though the number of cases was very less. But in a record time of maybe two weeks to 20 days, we were able to create a system where all the training programs were like you can handle that remotely. So when it came, the first thing I spoke to my CFO. I said, cash is very, very important. And you guys know that, right? And if you have cash in the bank, then you would survive maybe whatever lockdowns or maybe any situation that would come across. And then we also discussed and said that there are maybe thousands of expenses in the company which you can cut down. And human resource should be the last one. So I'm really proud to say that we have not fired anybody in the company, right? We gave all our increments which were due in April 2020 and April 21. Right? We had prior to pandemic issued certain appointment letters, not only to maybe some of the against the vacancies, but generally we as an organization we go to the colleges and maybe hire trainees. So all those trainees we hired, I think we hired about 7-8 trainees. though we kind of maybe lingered a bit because of the lockdown. So we honored all our commitments which were made. Then this time, Gaurav, we also, people talk about PPE. So we devised our own term as PPE. So first was people, right? So safety of our people and the well-being of our people was very, very important. Next comes the product, right? So because it's healthcare product relating to vision, then we ensured that as a company, even during the difficult times, that our product is available to our patients, to the doctors. And then we made like different arrangements. Some distributors were open because they were also pharma distributors. We made sure the inventories were there. And then E stands for empathy. Right? So need to be very, very empathic. So we went ahead and took insurance, specific COVID insurance for all our employees and their family members. Right? We created a very robust protocol document, which we worked together with CII, FICCI, and AmCham, and getting maybe global best practices to implement in the country. In fact, I had to maybe close my regional offices because cost was really important. Make sure like we are not going down to the level where maybe we need to ask people to go. So that was an opportunity. We closed our offices, regional offices, because anyways, people were working from home. In fact, like till date, we are working from home. So not opened our offices yet because safety is very, very important. So then that opportunity we took also to streamline like our internal staff. In fact, we were looking to upgrade our ERP system. So which we were waiting for in the normal times because it disrupts operations. So we went ahead and people working from home, we upgraded our ERP system, right? We are now in the process of implementing a distributor management system, which gives you visibility till the retailer level, right from the employee to the distributor to the retail. So these are also some of the steps which are progressive and would help the company to grow much faster. We've done training of about 10,000 optometrists, right? And NKOLs and ECPs across country. And that was through almost like 1,000 plus training. So to make them more aware of products, how to use that, and then also gain their confidence that it's not only like companies interested only in selling products, they're also like there to train people. We sat down with Optometry Council of India and AIS, and we created those protocols. So when patients are coming back, how would an optometrist maybe in a retail shop look at the patient? Similarly, for a cataract surgery, what all is required? So we've got some best practices from our counterparts internationally. And then together with the administrative groups of AIS and Optometry Council of India, we prepared those documents which are circulated. Then the other thing, what we were seeing was that on the contact lens side, the patient, because the optical stores were closed, they were moving like online. Right. So we also trained our team, and then we shifted all our A&P spends from offline media to digital media. Right. So that was another change. And training our people on online stuff. And then also with this change, right? We are not as big as Ultratech, what Umesh was talking about, from 42,000 crores to 44,000 crores. We are like a smaller company in India. So we thought it's also, I think, right time, considering like what patients are looking at, are cheaper products, safer products. So we have a lens called Eye Connect. So we launched a daily Eye Connect, which was much cheaper. and more safer because it's a daily lens. So from patient safety perspective also. So right now what we're doing, and this is what we are progressing with to maybe go on and how do we address the market and the growth opportunities. So we are launching like more and more low cost products. And then in terms of distribution, which was already like the biggest in the country among the industry and the competition. So we are growing our distribution by 2.5 times. So we started that exercise in quarter 3. We intend to maybe finish that by end of this year. So these are some of the steps which, as a company, I think would help us to grow faster. And specifically coming to, because cataract and contact lenses are both elective, people might, and then you can always push the cataract surgery to maybe after some time when things are normal. So I was speaking to one of the top KOLs. This was like before the second wave, and he said on a Saturday the number of patients in the OPD were highest ever. So patients are coming back in that opportunity. So it's not that the patients are not there. Specifically, if the hospitals and the stores are following like COVID appropriate guidelines, then they are there. So as an organization with a lot of things what we have done. So one more thing what we've done was our sales was not growing. So we got an impact or effect on the sales number. So even on the reduced forecast, where employees were able to achieve, we went ahead and paid incentives to them. So it was not that we held the incentives because it was a bad year. So we paid all bonuses, all incentive, all salary increases. So that's maybe I think the best part of the organization being very empathetic. Some of the questions I was reading on the chat, what are you doing about the mental health of the employees? So every 2-3 weeks, HR is organizing some program. At times you've done on mental health also, where we invited doctors to maybe talk to the employees. Because nobody has lost the job, even our temporary employees has not lost the job. So we don't see that much of a challenge in our organization right now. Yeah, but also to keep them engaged. So HR is kind of maybe organizing those kind of events every 2 to 3 weeks, where at times they would play tambola with the team on a Saturday evening. So I think with all this, what the company has done, employees kind of really realize that, and we have taken a challenge. So in terms of our productivity, now the call rate is 1.5 times what we used to do earlier. So that's what, if you be an empathetic company, so it's not like it's only one side. People would also kind of respond equally and maybe with same strength and motion. So hopefully once this hedonic is over, so maybe I think the parties and going back to the office, we would start again. So over to you, Gaurav.
No, thanks a lot. I think great insights, Sanjay. And I liked one of your point about honoring the commitments, right? Because this is one of the major issue which has happened, where a lot of employees resented that in April when the annual increments were due and the annual incentives were due, and a lot of companies actually didn't pay the increments as well as incentives, right. And maybe their fault also, not their fault also, because they had to do the cost optimization. But also, I think it is a very good step.
Right. So one more question I missed that on the supply chain side. Quickly, 1 minute. So we created like backups for our warehouses. So we have a main mother warehouse in Gurgaon. We created one in Mumbai and one in Chennai, so that any warehouse getting into lockdown, you have maybe inventory available. At the distribution level, we created like distributor to have like 2 points of inventory. Maybe if he has a office or a go down, or maybe keep maybe smaller, fast moving SKUs at his home. So in case a distributor is coming under lockdown, he can maybe supply from another place. In case the entire state comes under lockdown, a doctor still requiring a IOL, for example. So you created the infrastructure where the distributor from the neighboring state would supply. And it also required like all the IT backup to change in maybe just 15 minutes. So that kind of
No, I think
work,
that is very good
work also
because
get done. Right.
continuity of the business
Correct.
was
It's very,
ensured,
very important. Right.
and very important. So another, I
Gaurav,
think,
I'm
important.
sorry, I'm interrupting. On mental well-being, there are a couple of questions. So if time permits, I'd like to speak at the end, of course, when all panelists.
Sure. We will give you an opportunity, Umesh. And three companies in this panel, I was just observing, have survived both Spanish flu as well as this pandemic. So Bosch and Lomb is one of them. And
Right.
obviously there are two more, and this is a quiz for our participants also. And Sanjay, to your point on cash, so sales is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash is reality for good old
Right.
days. So
Right.
I think excellent point, Sanjay. And
See,
within a short time, you were able to give a lot of
specifically
insights.
multinationals, Gaurav, if you have maybe you don't go outside and ask for cash, I think things are okay. Yeah.
So
The
we are
moment you
pleased to
start asking
introduce
for
our
cash,
next
right.
esteemed panelist, Ms. Nandani Mehta. Nandani is the head HR at Lifestyle International. It is a part of the multi-billion-dollar Dubai-based retail and hospitality conglomerate Landmark Group. And in India, they run Lifestyle and many other successful retail chains. She is a passionate HR professional with an overall experience of more than 21 years. She thrives in a culture where people's strategies are developed in line with business and organizational goals. She has been recognized as the Woman Achiever of the Year 2016-17 by Jain University and top 100 HR professionals in the year 2017 and 18. So Nandini, our question to you is, the retail industry, I think, has been severely affected due to various lockdowns, whether during the first wave, second wave, and more than 80% of your employees are the frontline workers. So the first part is, how do you manage cost optimization as well as also balance the well-being of your employees and making sure that your employees are not affected? And what are some of the best practices and learnings from this pandemic for the retail sector, which you would like to share with our participants? Over to you, Nandini. Nandini, you have to unmute. And also, I would request
Thanks
other
a lot.
panelists to please answer the questions because there are a lot of questions which are pending. So I would request all the panelists to please keep on answering. Yeah, over to you, Nandini.
Thank you so much, Gaurav ji. It was wonderful to hear Umesh ji and Sanjay ji in terms of the great work done by their organizations. And like you rightly said, we are a retail organization. And, whatever we do depends on the income that we get on a daily basis. Having said that, we are Landmark Group, like you rightly said, a multi-billion Dubai-based company. And we definitely work very cautiously when it comes to our profitability, our turnover. We are pretty cautious about the way we spend money and the way we get money too. And we are a cash rich company, so we ensure that we do not really borrow money from outside. So we keep rotating whatever we earn. And I think that has definitely helped us to a large extent. And being a Dubai based company, there's been a lot of support that we've got from there as well. Right. So, pandemic, I'm just going to explain the story of Landmark India in a slightly different way. We've heard all the good things from Sanjay ji and Umesh ji, but it's not been so easy for retail. And we are a fashion retail, right? And this is a time when people spend the least on fashion. They would rather invest on their necessities than on luxuries, right? So we did have a very tough time in the initial from March 2020. The first 6 months were tough for us, and it was new for us as well, right? We've never faced a pandemic earlier. I think, of course, we faced a recession in 2008-9, but which was not as bad as this. And we did struggle initially, the first 6 months. First of all, as a retail organization, we are not used to work from home. So getting used to work from home was itself a very big change for everybody. However, we were able to quickly make people start doing that. We did have to take a lot of tough decisions. We had a little bit of retrenchment that happened. We did have some salary cuts that we did as well. However, it was not taken in bad light because it was in consultation with a lot of employees. We did speak to employees before we did all this. We did communicate to them that this is something that we will need support from all of you. And our organization is known for taking care of people. We've been a great place to work for the last 8 years consecutively. So people do trust us, our employees do trust us, and there was a lot of support that we got from our employees with all the interventions that we did. However, I would say that the first COVID phase was something which was a reactive learning phase for us. And we did do some mistakes, unlike the other two organizations that just spoke. And we learned from that. We quickly learned from our first few mistakes. And when the second wave hit, I think there was a 360-degree turnaround by the leadership, by the organization. We, in fact, quickly put in place a complete team that supported all employees and their families who went through COVID, who went through hospitalization. We had tie-ups with hospitals. We had, oxygen cylinders, which we had actually sourced and kept with us, where we could support employees. We ensured that we had tie-ups with people who could provide medicines when it was required. And we did our best to help our employees and their families. We extended the Mediclaim, which could cover COVID patients and their families. We also ensured that employees and families who passed away during the pandemic, we supported their families. In fact, we are supporting them with providing 1 year of the salaries of the employees, apart from whatever insurance is providing. And we also ensured that we try and give employment to their spouses or siblings in our organization, if they are willing to work with us. We're also providing support to their kids for their fees. This is only for the demised employees in the organization, both off roll and on roll. So these are some things we did in terms of supporting employees with respect to COVID. With respect to the business, we quickly turned around our offline business to online. We were already in the online space, and this only helped us improve our online business. It went up drastically by almost 50% of what we were doing, by 50% compared to what we were doing earlier. So I think that was a huge success. In fact, it helped us speeden up our entire learning in the online space. So we did a lot of, we managed to do a good income through our online business. Apart from that, of course, we brought about some new innovative ways of reaching out to customers, where we made calls. We did video calls. We tried to show products. We did what we call as fashion on wheels, where we actually went to residential apartments and sold merchandise there. So a lot of innovative things that we did. So we used this opportunity to become more innovative, is what I can say. We also tied up with the counselors, where employees could actually make calls to various counselors in case they are emotionally down, they're going through some depression. So they could call and speak to these counselors and get some advice from them. We also ensure that all the leaders spoke to employees on regular basis, to check their well-being, to check their families' well-being, to see if they needed any kind of support and help, and see how we could support them as an organization. For some of the people that we laid off initially, we also have a landmark foundation which supported them with providing them with about 2 to 3 months of salary, and ensuring that they're able to at least manage. So apart from the severance pay that we gave them, we also ensured that they got this support. So easily 6 to 7 months of theirs is taken care of broadly. So that is something which we did. So a lot of such things which we did, which kind of helped employees, helped us build our trust with the employees, help the organization also to, come back through the online space. And I think October onwards, when COVID was getting, phase one was getting back to normal. I think October to March is when we actually got back to what we were the previous year. So that really helped us. Again, March was a downfall. The second phase came in. And like I said, we did a lot of interventions to support our employees in the second phase. And I think the trust is back. Employees are happy that we are taking care of them. And I would like to say that this year we stood 34th ranked number one, number two position.
I think,
So
Nandini ji, if you can,
and the year
yeah, yeah,
before, yeah,
yeah, we
the year
lost you in
before we were
between.
at. Oh, sorry. Where did you lose me?
I think there is some signal issue, but no problem. Now we are able to hear you loud and clear.
Yeah. So I was saying that, we, with all these things that we did for our employees, we were able to stand at the 34th rank in the Great Place to Work this year. Last year when we participated, we were at the 92nd rank and we moved to 34th. So I think that's been that says a, huge story about how Landmark takes care of its employees and all the things that we did to ensure that, we support the team that has actually made Landmark what it is today. And I think we are a sales organization, but we are also a service organization. We provide interventions, and that's been, something that we did. In terms of how do we manage the future, I think we also used this time to upskill all our employees. We did a lot of training interventions. We provide. Are you all able to hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So we did a lot of training interventions. We did a lot of projects. We gave a lot of projects to various groups of employees who were supposed, and it was not projects, of course, on the field, but things that they would do to ensure that our future is better. Right. And we also use this time to strategize on what do we want to do as an organization, strengthen our private label, look at how do we penetrate through our tier two, tier three markets. So these are some strategies that we built so that we can become more resilient in the near future, and we are able to grow our business as well. So these are certain things that we have made use of the time during pandemic to work on. So that's a short and sweet story about what we've been able
No,
to
I
do
think very
with
valuable,
respect to Landmark.
very valuable insights, Nandini ji. And I think we empathize with the retail sector because retail sector was severely hit. But one thing, the one good news which I can tell you, that hospitality and retail, we are clearly seeing a revenge tourism and revenge shopping. So if we go
Absolutely.
to any mall in any
Yeah.
major city on any weekday or weekend, you will not find a place in actually in the shop. So because you have to just stand outside. So
True,
there
very
is
true.
a revenge shopping that we are seeing, and I think that will help you to recover all the losses that the retail segment has seen over a period of time. And similarly, we are seeing the revenge tourism also
Hoping.
for the.
Yeah.
So
So
True,
we wish
very
you all
true.
the
Gaurav,
Just,
last best
yeah.
Gaurav,
success.
Just wanted to add one more point which I missed out, which
Yeah.
was on the increments, and so we have a performance linked pay. I must say that we paid this both the years, last year as well as this year. This year, in fact, as we talk, we are also working on our increment files. So we are ensuring that we are giving increments to all our employees. We're also looking at how do we retain our top talent, our critical talent. So a lot of work which we are doing on that front as well. And I think that is what is building the confidence back in our employees, that if we are able to succeed, like you said, revenge shopping, and we're able, in fact, we're already seeing a trend where whichever stores have opened, we are doing much better than what we were doing last year. So I think that's something we're already
Good.
seeing.
So I think those are
So
So I would now bring in our
Gaurav,
next. Yeah,
Gaurav, just
Sanjay,
one
please.
one point on the revenge. I think Mukesh is crossing his fingers. You shouldn't, like, the patient shouldn't do the revenge to the hospital, then the hospital's arranging.
So our next actually panelist is Mukesh only. So Mukesh Sabarwal is currently the CEO, Chief Executive Officer at Asian Heart Institute and Research Center, Mumbai, which is India's #1 heart hospital with 99.83% success rate in the world. So I think maybe it is also the highest in the world also. So excellent work done by Dr. Pandya and his team, and he's currently now a multi-speciality large hospital which is being managed by Mukesh. Mukesh is a influential C-level professional with over 35 years of experience, and he has worked with various companies in healthcare, medical equipment, eye care, and pharma industry. So first of all, Mukesh, I think on behalf of all the participants and panelists, we really thank you and various hospitals that you have been keep on working. Earlier you were with Apollo also, because the extraordinary work that the COVID warriors have done during the pandemic. I think you are one of at the forefront. Even you were infected with COVID, but then you kept going on after you recovered. So I think great work done there. And our question to you is, Mukesh, we can clearly see that there was a clear difference between the first and the second wave. The second wave was phenomenal in terms of speed and the way the infection has spread across the country. In the first wave, we were only seeing a vulnerable segment above 60 years or people with comorbidities. But in the second wave, we are seeing much younger people who got infected, and this wave was spread across India. And some of us do complain about the hospitals, lack of oxygen, lack of resources, lack of this and that. But we have to understand that if there is a something capacity built for 100 and there are 10,000 patients will come, then how can anybody cope up? So private sector has done a great job, and we should not keep on complaining and keep on arguing about that. So what we would like to know from you, Mukesh, is the learnings that you had from both the waves from a hospital sector perspective, and also about what are the positive change that you feel, because we should not keep on talking about negative only. What are the positive things that you think have brought in, this pandemics have brought in people's attitude and overall well-being? One positive I think I can say is working from home. I don't think working from home could have ever happened, and many of us are now able to balance the family and work life.
I
So
also worked from home for 4 months. In a healthcare
yes.
industry, working from home is very different and difficult.
So over to you, Mukesh, please
I
go
think
ahead.
namaskar to all participants and my co-host as well as the leaders in the panel. I would first like to salute all the frontline healthcare workers, and almost more than 10,000 frontline workers, 1,000 doctors passed away during this pandemic treating the people. So big salute to they're like matris for us, like the army soldiers. They have fought day in, day out, and I salute them from my heart. And especially the housekeeping workers. You should have seen the way the housekeeping team worked during pandemic, whether it was in a government institute or a private institute. Day in and day out, multiple level of cleaning, multiple level of infection was there, which was done, which helped in controlling the first wave very effectively. They were very, very important in the initial stage when the pandemic started off. The nurses, I said, please wear one day a PP kit and see for 1 hour what happens inside. You're all wet. You can't breathe. These nurses and paramedical staff and doctors have been wearing day in and day out. So we should see them as a leader in this pandemic, how they are surviving and how they are leading. What they have done, what the amount of passion, energy And empathy, what they were showing to the patients during that time was great. In the first wave, I am talking. So everyone was focused, everyone was looking at that. The biggest thing that in the first wave was everyone was very proactive, including our Prime Minister Modi, because he was leading from front during that time. Lockdown was done on early set, contact tracing was very well done, and wherever the case was found, that entire colony was getting quarantined. So that was the biggest area where the first wave got controlled down on a much faster pace. Only government hospitals were majorly treating in the initial stage, and they were getting picked up from the home and movement was there. But as the contact tracing went off, the spread started off. And everyone was very happy. The praises were all across the India has fought well, gone, the wave is gone. India has conquered the COVID first wave. But no one knows this about this virus, when it will come back again. So everyone took it for granted, and that is how when the second wave hit in. When the initial wave, you say even 500 patients a day, it used to be a red alert. No one was moving out, no one was going out. Lockdown was taken very seriously, and lockdown definitely helped. And then later on, we have seen the labors going on. No one knows how the virus is spreading. It's spreading through air, it's all assumptions what are happening. We should not assume that you will not get infected or any. Each and every person in the world will get infected with this virus. Unless, even if they are vaccinated also, then also. The only good thing will be the effect of the virus will be less. Unless and until people get infected by the virus, this is not going to go. So everyone get injected as soon as possible if you want that the third wave reaction is less. The only worry in the third wave which is going to come is 18 years and below. Going to be dangerous because they are not vaccinated. So they have to be very particular, careful. They should kind of impose internal lockdown for them till they get vaccinated. They should stay home. They should not move out. Anyway, this is not a working class. This is more a education all across. No colleges have opened. They are doing online. They should stay. But between first wave and second wave, there was a clear lack of kind of very casual approach which was there. And when it was increased, because in the first wave, death rate was very less. And each and every member in the second wave I lost 5 of my family members at close relatives. They didn't knew. In fact, they were staying at home and they got COVID. So no one knows from where the COVID will come in. So your protection is the best protection. 3 things: sanitize, vaccinate, and mask. These are the only 3 things which can protect you from. But there is still no guarantee. You will get COVID. If people who have not got COVID, be prepared. Even if you are vaccinated, our managing director earlier, Sangeeta Reddy, after taking all the precautions, all vaccinations done on the first priority, everything, last month got COVID and she was admitted. But as she had both the doses, the effect was less. So if you have the vaccination and the doses is good, you will have. Be prepared. Prepare your organization for the third wave. It is already started. It is on the move. So I worked for 2 different organizations. Apollo, which was very proactive. Right from the beginning of the COVID start, they were very actively involved in supporting the government in controlling it. Whether it was opening the quarantine hotels, high-stay hotels, which were there, the first of the movement. Whether it was on the vaccination drive or procuring the vaccines, which was there, the biggest one. So they did a different thing. And if you see on the business front also, initially, everyone lost money. But later on, Apollo share has gone again, like Mr. Umesh said, they have doubled their share value. Apollo doubled their share. From 1,500, it went to 3,000 because they built and they thought future out. So they were proactive in the approach. There were a lot of hospitals where were reactive and a lot of, initially in the first wave, government was shutting down the hospital. Even a COVID patient entered the hospital because I had to shut 5 hospitals where one patient just entered the hospital and was detected positive. and I had to quarantine all my staff for 21 days in a hotel. So that time no one knew. Then government said ki band karo. COVID patient if goes anywhere, that kind of a strictness was there, which was not there in the second wave. And self-medication was very, very common in the second wave because the prescriptions were out. कि vitamin C ले लो, ये खा लो, COVID नहीं होगा. That doesn't happen. Coronel खा लो, Baba Ramdev का yoga कर लो, कुछ करो, nothing. You can prevent little bit, but you cannot protect yourself from it. So it is better. Protection is always better than you get into the cure factor. Secondly, one most important thing which happened compared to first and second wave, the preparedness of the hospital was not at all there, because everyone thought COVID is gone, so no one prepared for this is there, and neither the oxygen level or such kind of oxygen requirement will be there, because second wave infected lungs much more seriously than the first. The first wave infected senior citizen. The second wave infected the youngsters. That is where the maximum death happened to the system. So we were not prepared for the second wave at all. But later on, the Indian hospital industry, all private hospitals geared up, opened up, and government also supported in opening all. The biggest, what we are facing now is the complications of COVID. COVID is one. People are only say COVID hua, theek ho gaya na. Long-term treatment of COVID, when you have your continuation of medication of blood thinners and other, is very, very important. People don't take blood thinners. Then there are clot, there are cardiac arrest. Cases of cardiac arrest have gone up because people have not taken medication. Clotting has happened and cardiac arrest are happening. So heart cases have gone up very high. So it's not only during the COVID 14 days are over. The side effects of COVID are much more dangerous. The hospitals will be full for post-COVID symptoms or the side effects which are going to come. So be prepared and prepare your team members, prepare all the employees and educate them. Education is one which is very important. A lot of education has happened all across. But yes, people have become casual. People have to take this very seriously. Lockdown is the only answer to this. There is no other way you can kind of protect, and work from home is the new norm. So be prepared.
I think very important points which Mukesh is raising, that we all have to be careful, and third wave will come, and it is better to be prepared than just thinking that maybe it will not impact us. But I think second wave has clearly shown that it can impact us individually and also as a society. The only, I think, Mukesh, the good thing is that even your previous managing director got treated with a cocktail. Yeah. So now we have the cocktail. Yes. So don't take me otherwise. Yeah. Not that cocktail, but there is a cocktail of medicines which has come. Obviously, they are costly. But I think these medicines, if you are detected early and if you can take it on time, then you can recover. And the same were given to Donald Trump. Right. So there are, thanks a lot, Mukesh. I think a lot of work that hospitals have done, and we all salute to our COVID warriors. So we have reserved our best speaker for the last, and Mr. Rakesh Swami. Rakesh is currently the Vice President, Government Relations at Honeywell, India. And Honeywell is another, I think, the company which has seen both Spanish flu and both these pandemics. He's a versatile C-level executive having a rich experience of over 20 years. He has been successful in achieving business growth objectives with experience in corporate social responsibility, sustainability development, business strategy, and general administration. He is an alumnus of Symbiosis Institute of Business Management. So our question to you, Rakesh ji, is what is your learning from this whole first wave as well as second wave? And what do you think, how can organizations become more resilient and survive and even grow in the future based on the learnings that we had?
Yeah, sure. So Gaurav ji, first of all, thank you very much for the introduction. And, I'm not the star here. My panelists here, the co-panelists here are very, very senior, esteemed panelists, and I think I'm thrilled to understand, to hear their views, their experience, expertise which they have spoken. I think it is marvelous, and I think a lot of people can speak about strategies and theories, but I think listening to this kind of practical experience will always be very, very enriching for me and all the colleagues, those who are connected to this panel discussion today. So first of all, a very good evening and namaskar to all of you, my esteemed panelists, and also the colleagues, those who have joined as an audience to this particular panel, and spending their precious time in understanding our viewpoints. And I'm sure I was understanding the questions and answer coming to the chat box are really very interesting, and they're thought provoking. And I'm sure this is going to be a very interesting exercise. I'll try to do justice with your question and with the expectation. So I was thinking and talking to some of my colleagues, and somebody asked me, what is this resilience? Everybody is talking about resilience, building resilient organization. So I think, looking at and Gaurav, you mentioned a word called like VUCA world. So this pandemic has taken us rightly into the maybe all ingredients of VUCA world are present in the COVID pandemic, whether it's volatility, uncertainty, complexity, or ambiguity. And the resilience is like, we feel that whether we can withstand the current situation and how we can come out of this situation. And same thing is happening to the organizations. So how do we make resilient organization, future ready organization? And if you look at my back, so Honeywell, we speak always, and our tagline is future is what we make it. So I think the resilient organizations are those who are ready for change. They are looking at the maybe simple SWOT. We were taught in our management school, like, do SWOT analysis first. So let's do the SWOT for the COVID as well. What are our strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats in the coming time? If we can do it in the timely manner, I think then we can be better prepared, adapt, collaborate, and we can be a good resilient organization. I would like to share some examples of what we did here at Honeywell. So and Honeywell is a technology company, in fact. So a lot of people, when they talk about Honeywell, they think Honeywell is an electronics company. So Honeywell is a well-known technology company into the aerospace, Honeywell building technologies, performance material technology, safety and productivity solution. And we have a technology arm called Honeywell Technology Solution, which gives technology solution to all the umbrella companies. So we were contacted by the DRDO, and then I would like to give this example because how you have to be agile and you can adapt to the new situation. And so when we looked at the situation that now we are in a situation when the oxygen is the main requirement in the country. And then DRDO came up with a wonderful idea that how the, all these, fighter planes, they have a technology called PSA. And with that, they produce oxygen, but it's purely done through the lithium-based zeolite, which is very rare and very, the quantity available worldwide is very less. So they kind of created a model on the, for the hospitals, how they can replicate that, and then how we can partner with them. So the big question in front of everybody was, how do we, bring the critical element of zeolite together? So Honeywell UOP is, master in that area, and with their mastery, they brought out various different kinds of zeolite, lithium-based, calcium-based, and sodium-based. And the scientists of Honeywell and the DRDO, we did brainstorming together for about 25 days at constant basis. So how we can reach to a situation which particular zeolite is suited to the oxygen quality, which Mukesh and team would look, and which all the hospital would want, and the reliability. So finally, after a lot of brainstorming, we all reached to a situation that the sodium-based zeolite, and Gaurav, I have no hesitation, sodium-based zeolite is the cheapest zeolite, and lithium-based zeolite is the costliest zeolite. So finally, the frugal solution worked for us. And now, this sodium-based zeolite is being used in all these. I think they are setting up 1,500 PSA plants with the help of Prime Minister Relief Fund in different parts of the country. So that's a example of how we can quickly adapt to a new situation and then work with our partnership with the government and the key strategic stakeholders. The second example which I would like to give in this resilient world, and how we can be more resilient to adapt to the new situation. So during the normal course of time, we will do our CSR work normally, going to a school and doing some sort of, maybe hygiene, sanitation work, or do a, construction of building, construction of toilet, roads, so something of that sort. So I think all of us, not only Honeywell, I'm sure a lot of other organizations, all of us, we came together and we adapted, during the first wave. The focus is more on the migrant workers. They were moving on the roads. So how do we feed that population, keep them disciplined, give them the PPEs, and then also ensure that they reach their destination. So I think the focus remained on there, and also the ventilator piece in terms of when we were dealing with that. But during the second wave, and we thought we are ready, and we were not actually. So we were caught sleeping in terms of maybe the requirement came little different. So it was the oxygen requirement. So then we started all these innovative ways, and I spoke about our partnership with DRDO, which is yet to get in action. And I'm sure before the third wave is here, in whatever slightest way or in the severest manner, I'm sure with all our efforts, these plants, ESA plants, should be in action. They should be deployed. So coming back to the strategies with respect to how we changed focus on the CSR approach as well. The second approach, we built a lot of these COVID care centers and also the ICU centers, and more focus was on the deployment of the oxygen concentrator. And we put our the supply chain team, the procurement team, wherever on the world map you can find out the oxygen concentrator. And Honeywell allocated around $3 million USD for this particular task. So let's get going and analyze the requirement with the hospitals and with the government bodies and stuff like that. So I think that partnership worked very well, and this was the change in the focus. Now looking at the third wave, and to be more agile and to be more flexible, I think our focus has to be more on because somewhere it was called that focus has to be on the child care, pediatric care, and what kind of ward. So we are setting up those wards as well now, but I think we'll see how it goes. But the most importantly, the focus for the organization to be more, agile, how to, look at the technologies which are data driven, which helps us in correct decision making. How do we, use the machine learning tools? How do we focus on the, AI and also the predictive models? So Honeywell is constantly working on these particular areas, and we are collaborating effectively with various people. So some of the example maybe which could be relevant for this forum is, when we are looking at the current situation. So we like when first wave struck us, we were not aware what to do. But when we were, towards the end of first wave, we all started talking about the COVID vaccine. And how do we distribute the vaccine to the actual target, the people who are supposed to be vaccinated. So the focus came on like develop the track and trace, solution. How do we monitor the temperature? How do we have a counterfeit solution? And how do we monitor these command and control centers? So we developed a technology for Honeywell, vaccine distribution. Then, moving further, we thought, how do we, make our planes operational? And maybe it will be interesting for you, Mukesh, to know that we have developed the UV-based disinfectant solution now. In a hospital environment, the UV-based disinfectant is different. And then for aircrafts, it's different. And we have customized it for the homes and also for the, public transport like buses and all that. And then we are now working on we spoke about black fungus and white fungus. So how do we, we have developed a machine called Air Detective. It will check the quality of the air and also the presence of black or white fungus in the environment. So that is something which is going on, and I'm sure we will soon come out with that solution, and that will help the humanity at large. And also if we shift the gear everywhere, so you must have heard a lot about the green building system. Honeywell is known for that globally. So now in the COVID pandemic, we started to focus on the healthy building. And when we say healthy building, the focus is more on the air quality monitoring And you must have heard about the rebellion cameras and also the the crowd monitoring. So if in a building, you find some people without masks, so automatically there is a technology which detects it. And some of the government offices, we are fitting all those technologies, and some of our offices are also getting equipped with this. So the intent is that we have to look at future beyond pandemic now, because COVID wave 1 is gone, second is gone, and third will also go away. I think with COVID appropriate behavior and the kind of precautions we are maintaining, it will definitely will overcome this. But what are some of the key takeaways, as you mentioned? How do we overcome this? So I think we have to quickly respond to the situation, adapt, and as I gave some examples of how we shifted the gear in terms of technology development as a technology company.
I think, Rakesh, we got the gist, because we are now just ending, about to end the program also.
Okay.
But we got the gist. I think the way Honeywell has partnered with the government in this crisis time, I think is really appreciable. And the kind of solutions that you are trying to build for this crisis, I think they will really be appreciated by all the stakeholders. So we all hope and pray that your organization.
I want to add on one point maybe before.
Yeah, please.
And that's very important. Maybe I was talking about technology, and it's important to talk about the human capital. And I think many of my HR colleagues here, they focused on that and they spoke about it. I think whatever pandemic we are in, if our focus is on humanity, whether it's our own employees, whether it's our family members, or whether it is the societies and communities at large, I think that's the best way to survive and best way to thrive and come out of this pandemic, and also be more resilient and to go further and then excel and then flourish. So I think I just wanted to maybe.
Yes, no, thanks a lot. I think very important point. So now the question answer part, I think we don't have much time left, only 10 minutes. But Umesh, I would like to ask from you about the mental health. Now, this is a very, very important question, and I would then ask to some more people, because first wave, there were issues in terms of mental health, we all know, and organization also responded by keeping counselors and other help that they could provide. But the second wave, I think, has really been a lot of personal losses in the employees' immediate family or their known families. Then in the organization, we have seen a lot of colleagues who have unfortunately lost their lives. So second wave has been much more causing more anxiety and more, and a lot of people I know personally now are experiencing panic attacks and other issues. People who have undergone, people who have been affected by COVID has also now facing these issues. So your take on this and your observations.
Thank you, Gaurav. I think this is a very important point to discuss. Many a times we feel that if you lose job, then you are emotionally disturbed. Yes, most certainly if your employment ceases, your earning ceases, you are mentally disturbed. That's quite obvious. But that's not the only emotional breakdown people have experienced during this time. Human beings are described as a social animal. We are social animal. And what COVID took away from us is not employment as much as it took away the urge or ability to socialize. I have an urge to socialize, but I don't have an ability to socialize. And human beings are described as social animal, and the socialization was taken away. So our biggest identity, the biggest urge, the biggest thing that human beings among all the living beings in the world are known for was taken away by COVID. And that created a back pressure on people's mind. If you compare a jail and quarantine, there is no difference, right? In jail, you get food. You live with your inmates. Inmates are like people like you who have killed another person. You are murderer, they are also murderer. But you get food every time during the day. But what you do not get is to socialize, and that's what we experienced during COVID time. So what we quickly do during the phase 1, and it got intensified in phase 2, is that we first started focusing on people who are living alone, the bachelors or forced bachelors in our units. So Are they getting food on time? Yes. Are they getting medical attention? Yes. But is somebody talking to them? Because they don't have opportunity to talk. We even took care to the extent of ensuring that they have network, because our factories are located in remote area. Do they have network? If they want to connect with their family members, do they have network to be able to connect? Is their boss talking to them? And we ensure that every manager every day speaks to all their people, all their team members, and more specifically 2 times a day to the people who are living alone. Then we have a large number of coaches and mentors and counselors within the organization. So we activated that. For example, any bereavement any employee has suffered, like any family member they have lost, any distant relation they have lost, I have personally connected to every employee who has suffered bereavement. I am a trained and certified coach, and I have been doing this activity for a long time. And similarly, there are many people in this group whom we connected. We outsourced also this activity because many a times employees will not share their emotional fragility with a colleague who is an employee. So we outsourced and partnered with an outsourced vendor who are expert in this area, where people will speak out openly, speak out loudly. So these are the few things that we did. Another group of people which we focused on is children. We ignore, we feel that children are playing and all that, and then they are staying happy, but no, they are missing the other kids. And there where we found emotional disturbance, and we took special care by organizing various events. We, for example, had a employee's child who was a magician, a young boy but very well known magician. So we called him, and online he showed magic shows to the students. So a lot of activities we did around very focused category of our employees and their family members. Housewives, another set, a particular set of activities. Employees sitting at home, one set of activities. People who have lost their relation, another set of activities. Children, another set of activities. So we did a lot around keeping people emotionally healthy.
No, I think a lot of good points. So Nandani ji, same question to you on the mental health side, because retail sector, again, you have a large workforce, and unfortunately there were retrenchments, there were other issues also. So please share your thoughts. You have to unmute, Nandani.
So I think I shared a bit already while I was explaining what we did. I did. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. So I've shared quite a few things that we already have done as an organization, but just to elaborate a little more. See, most of the time when any such thing happens, the whole responsibility comes on HR. So what we did is we said it's not HR's responsibility alone. We cannot do this all by ourselves. We need the support of each and every member in the organization. So we actually got all the leaders. When I say leaders, anyone managing a team. And we actually spoke to all of them saying that they need, like Umesh ji said, they need to connect with all their team members, check their well-being, find out if there are any challenges or issues that the teams are facing, see if so they would get back to us, and then we see how we can support and help. So there were smaller support groups created, if I was to put it in simple way, where people were connected to each other and supporting each other during this time. So I think that really helped. So to give you an example, if somebody, like Umeshji said, if somebody's all by themselves, and let's say the person has got COVID, so how does she or he manage? So somebody from the team would go and would give food to them. They would leave it at their doorstep or whatever, and these people would collect it from there. So things like that, small things which really helped. So that's one thing we did. Second is we did an entire, at an org level, we did this entire event on every Friday, which we called as Thank Goodness It's Fun Day. And we connected with all the employees in teams. We had some fun activities so that everybody is connected. Another activity we did is on regular basis, we used to have an HR Connect program. So this was, of course, specifically done by HR, where we connected with groups of people, found out from them what are, what are things we could do as an organization for them. We would come back to the drawing board, pick out things which were practical, low-hanging fruits, which we could actually support the employees with. And we did that. Like I told you, we had a tie-up with counselors, and we had given the numbers to all the employees who could connect with these counselors and speak to them. So this is something that we did. And all these small things definitely helped. A lot of them wanted to go back to their native. And it was a time when travel was also not allowed. So they had to get special e-passes and all that and go. But we facilitated that. We helped employees go back to their hometowns and spend time with their families, so that they're not alone here. In Bangalore, we had a major, I'm sure it would be across cities, we had a major challenge where all PGs closed down. They said, we cannot provide food, we cannot support anyone, so people had to go back to their hometowns. So that was a big thing that happened, and we supported all our employees to get back home. So I think that's something which we
So
did.
I think a lot of wisdom there. So
Yeah.
Mukesh, I would ask the same question to you, because it's a very unique situation in hospitals. You were talking about the PP kit, so a lot of us can understand, particularly the female doctors and the female employees, and they have to wear the same PP kit from morning till evening, even if they are having periods. So such was their sacrifices and the contributions that we have seen. So the nurses and the housekeeping staff that you were talking about, which are being paid 15,000, 20,000 rupees, and still they are coming and knowing that they are working in a COVID ward, they can get infected and tomorrow they can die, or their family member can have this disease. So there was a lot of mental anxiety. There were a lot of issues in the healthcare workers also. And we cannot hide it under the carpet. So how did the hospitals manage it? You have to unmute, Mukesh.
I think the hospital industry was the worst hit into the mental, because they were hit from front and back, both sides. Once they had to go give the service, they cannot run away from it. Another way, they were very closely working, and chances of infection were very high to them. Whatever PP kit you wear, the chances of infection were very, very high. And it's very difficult, because I've seen people wearing, and I was in the hospital and was seeing them. It is really, really, and how do we kind of just de-stress them out? So one simple thing which I think all hospitals have done is the reward, recognition, and appreciation. These are three things which really work well any time of the year, and everyone. How much you are paid, how much the reward, recognition, a small recognition or an appreciation, and a small good. The other thing, there was a lot of kind of a bossism and other thing in the hospitals where this was there. The entire attitude of the hospitals changed. Become very soft organizations. The relaxation was there and a lot of freedom was given. I'll give you an example of Asian Heart Institute. In April, 31 employees of the hospital got infected, and the hospital was shut down. 100 staff, including all the doctors, quarantined themselves inside the hospital and locked the hospital across. The only treatment was done the emergencies and the heart surgeries. The patient used to come to the ambulance, even including our leader, Dr. Panda, quarantined him for entire 1 year inside the hospital for the benefit of the patient. Now, people staying inside the hospital for almost a year, what kind of a mental effect they are serving left, right, and center, and they are not treating COVID. Now, see the trauma, not treating COVID, they are safe, but staying inside the hospital, getting similar food every day and all, it's like a jail. 1 year jail, you are inside. And these 100 people have to do 12 hours duty and they have to take care of that. They can't step out of the hospital. The hospital was completely sealed. The only locks used to get open when the ambulance with the patient used to come. And Dr. Panda used to operate. he restricted himself to one room and operation theater for almost a year. It's a big sacrifice. So that just disturbs the mental health. But passion, I think these people take oath, which is very valuable. The nurses and doctors, when they take oath of serving patients and serving people, which is there, which drives them on. And they're known for it. The Nightingale story everyone knows. So that is there. But I think be soft, be empathetic. Reward and recognition and appreciation, these are three things. Bigger than money, bigger than anything. Whatever money you make the salary from 20,000 to 40,000, a lot of people jumped and went to government because government straight away doubled up the salary of the nurses. And all those nurses, they were doing 12 hours duty. They got another 25,000. But a lot of them lost their lives also because of that. And the duty hours were like hell in the COVID. It's like hell, going through hell. It's not an easy duty. Other people may have lost the job. Other people may have kind of worked from home. It's nowhere near the trauma which the healthcare worker has gone to them.
No, I think very important points, Mukesh. And a lot of us who criticize healthcare system
And
in
a
our
lot of
country.
beating of the hospital happened during that time. Everyone knows.
So this is the kind of things that have happened for 1 year, as Umesh also was saying, the real jail that you have to stay in the hospital. So thanks a lot, all the panelists, for your valuable time, and also thanks a lot all the participants who have joined us from different parts of the world. So we have already overshoot our time, and thanks a lot. I really appreciate your valuable time.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you very much.
you.
All the best. Enjoy life.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye. Have a great weekend.